Washington estimates as many as 300 Americans are now fighting with the Islamic State in Syria and Iraq. They could potentially pose a huge risk to U.S. security if they return from war zones and use skills learned abroad to carry out attacks at home. In fact, it's been confirmed that a 33-year-old American who had joined the ranks of the jihadists was killed in battle over the weekend in Syria. Guy and H. Jacan now reporting on Washington's sudden realization.
The U.S. president has diagnosed the Islamic State.
Rooting out a cancer like ISIL won't be easy and it won't be quick.
Many are asking if the cancer could have been caught at an earlier stage when the Islamic State group, as part of the Syrian opposition, was gaining momentum in the country, and when rich donors in Gulf states were funding and arming the group. But until recently, the West seemed more preoccupied with toppling the Syrian president.
We will work with like-minded states to support the Syrian opposition to hasten the day when Assad falls.
The European Union has agreed to bring to an end the arms embargo on the Syrian opposition.
We are constantly consulting with the opposition on how they can get organized so that they're not splintered and divided in the face of the onslaught from the Assad regime.
For years, the White House tried to present a picture of the Syrian opposition as consisting of, quote, former farmers and teachers.
Some within the intelligence community had a really big red flag go up that was alarming the administration and elected officials that the problem in Syria was bigger than anybody anticipated. But the problem is that the elected officials chose to have a moment of Dumb and Dumber and hear what they wanted to hear. So you had John McCain patrolling the streets of Aleppo thinking that supporting the insurgents was a good idea.
One thing the West perhaps failed to see was the blurred lines between the moderate and the radical groups within the Syrian opposition.
ISIS, until very recently, was part of a broad Sunni group in Syria that was being supplied by the United States.
The extremist group makes use of modern technologies like no other radical organization. They even use surveillance drones to plan attacks on the Syrian military. The question arises whether the U.S. has misjudged the scale of extremism in Syria as it focused all efforts on bringing down the Syrian government.
You ask for so much cooperation, but it ended up all the help you got from America ended up being with us now, alhamdulillah, for free. They lost in Iraq, they lost in Afghanistan. They're going to lose in Syria also, inshallah, when they come. We'll be waiting for them, inshallah, to take more ghanima from them.
The Islamic State group is now cheering about all the arms and money that they have seized, both in Iraq and in Syria. ISIS sympathizers are posting pictures on Twitter in U.S. cities with a message saying, "We are in your streets."
One thing that is typical of ISIS is this vicious sense of humor, if you will. They're big fans of social media, and they have been using all the West can offer to spread what President Obama called cancer. In Washington, I'm Ganesh Chegan, RT.